Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ole Walls! Let's get fucking listening, baby! Yes!
Welcome to Ole Walls House. It's me. It's your man. It's your main man. It's Ole Walls. I'm back again. Ole Walls House, episode number 75, coming your way. As always, want to just say thank you to everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Appreciate all of you. You got a double dose of the pod last week. We dropped that emergency pod the same day the episode came out. So thank you guys for checking out both. Appreciate that. Thank you, as always, to producer Kevy. Gave him a little extra to work on last week. So thank you, everybody. As you guys know, always going to do this, that housekeeping. If you could, please rate, review, comment, subscribe, share, tell somebody about it. Just let everybody know. Ole Walls House. It's the place to be. Fun show this week. Me running solo. We're going to talk some Cleveland Guardians. We got the Canadian Open to talk about. NBA Finals, NHL Stanley Cup, my passing thoughts, some fights to talk about. So a bunch of good stuff coming. So let's not waste any time and let's go dive into it. Nick Taylor from downtown. After 69 years and 4 playoff holes, Nick Taylor had enough. 72 feet in the dead center with good pace. Nick Taylor rolls in an eagle. Little eag action on 18 in the 4th playoff hole. Holy shit, that was awesome. The crowd was nuts. They were all chanting for Taylor. They were cheering when Tommy Fleetwood was hitting balls into bunkers. Like, this was incredible. For a golf tournament, I had almost zero intention of watching when the weekend started. I was locked in to today. It was kind of catching pieces of it when I was cooking dinner, but for the most part was like there. I was seeing it. What a tournament, man. That was awesome. That's the moment. Those are the moment. Like, this is one of the moments where I'm like, man, how can you not be romantic about sports? Like, how can you not love sports? Like, sometimes sports moments are just fucking awesome, and that was one of those times. It was just awesome. Like, it was so great. Adam Hadwin gets tackled by security trying to get out onto the green. Like, it was just great. Like, every bit of this was great. I pretty much wasn't going to watch today. Like, didn't have plans to watch this weekend. I didn't really watch much up until today, but caught the end yesterday. Rory gets into contention. I'm like, oh, I'm going to watch because Rory kind of bows out early. It is not really a factor. He ends up 5 back. What did he do? He made 2 bogeys on the way out, made a couple birdies on the way in. No factor, pretty much the whole day. Nick Taylor, who opened with 75, I think it was like T140 after round 1. Could it have been 140? Were there that many people in the field? It was bad. Like, might have been 120. Whatever it was bad. And my guy turns it around, comes back 67 Friday to make the cut. 63 on Saturday. A 66 today. And Nick Taylor is the first Canadian to win the Canadian Open since like 1954. Just absolutely incredible. Tommy Fleetwood shoots 64, 67 on the weekend. Like, some good playing there. Tommy Fleetwood still no PGA Tour wins. Crazy enough. Man, what an awesome moment from Nick Taylor. I think at one point there were like 6 guys tied for the lead with like 2 more a shot back. Just fantastic. Just absolutely fantastic. What a way to get me pumped up about golf, heading towards the U.S. Open. U.S. Open next week, right around the corner. For some reason, the U.S. Open's like kind of my favorite major. Like, I love the Masters. The PGA's been great lately, but there's something about the U.S. Open. I don't know what it is. I just like that it's like the national championship. Anybody can enter, kind of the old tin cup thing. Anybody can get in. So I've always really, really enjoyed the U.S. Open. We talked about it on the emergency pod when we kind of briefly touched on U.S. Open stuff, LACC, West Coast. So we're getting primetime golf. I don't think I missed. 6 tied at 13 under through like 4 when they were like 4-7 holes, and there's 2 more. What did CT Pan do today? He shot 70. Not bad. Tyrrell Hatton, 64. He had some good stuff coming in. But yeah, back to the U.S. Open. So U.S. Open TV schedule this week is awesome. Absolutely awesome. Let me pull it up just to make sure I'm relaying all of this correctly. So in Eastern time, on Thursday, we're on Peacock from 9:40 till 1 p.m. Then we're on USA Network from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then NBC from 8 to 11. 8 to 11. Same thing Friday. Saturday we go NBC 1 to 11. Live from is on before. So, and then Sunday we end a little sooner. We go noon to 1 on the Peacock, on the cock, and then 1 to 10 p.m. God, it's beautiful, people. It's absolutely beautiful. I did see that Los Angeles Country Club was worried that the rough maybe wasn't going to be the right height, right length. Something to do with its Bermuda grass, and it's been like hazy in Southern California. The haze has moved inland farther than normal, so it hasn't gotten the sun. So I don't know. We'll see. There's also going to be a par 3 that plays 290 yards, and then a par 3 that can play as little as like 100 yards. Let's see here. Hole by hole breakdowns. Where's the long par 3? What hole's that? Hole 4 is 228. There's one that's 290. 7, par 3, 284. Yeah. Where's the short one? 9 is 171. There's 3 par 3s on the front. What's going on here? Par 5, a par 4, a par 4. So 1 par 3, 1 par 5. 2 par 3s. 2 par 5s. A third par 3 on the front 9. There's the 4. Oh, there's the 4. There's one that's 290. So Jesus, they've got one that's 270 and one that's 290. There's another par 5. There's one. 15 is 124. This hole can play anywhere from 140 yards to just 78 yards. We'll probably see a 78-yard front right hole location that we saw in the Walker Cup. That would be sweet. That would be so sick if they get a 78-yard hole at the U.S. Open. So sick. What do we finish with? We finished, our last 3 holes are 542-yard par 4. Okay, cool. 520-yard par 4 and a 492-yard par 4. That looks like it's going up a hill. God, this place looks so cool. I hope it doesn't get torched, because then when it gets torched, everyone has a hissy fit. I actually don't care when it gets torched. Like, it looks so sweet. I'm so excited. I do. I love the fucking US Open. I love it. I love it. Someone we probably forgot to mention on our US Open preview talk, Brooks Koepka. I don't know that anyone mentioned him. So yeah, we should probably keep him in mind. Tyrrell Hatton. Let's keep an eye on Tyrrell Hatton as well. Someone that could be lurking around. So I'm sticking with Spieth. That's a terrible, terrible play, but I'm sticking with it. Let's keep our eyes out for Tyrrell Hatton, kind of another sleeper guy. Let's not forget about Brooks, Scotty, DJ sucks. I don't think anything out of him. Does JT playing good golf ever? Like, is that going to happen? This place looks like somewhere Cam Smith. I don't know why. I feel like Cam Smith could play well here. It just looks like a course he would play well at. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm excited. Just to circle back to the live stuff, the PGA and live stuff. We called it a merger on Tuesday when we talked. Merger may not be the right term. Probably isn't, because PGA Tour and live aren't merging so much as the PIF, the Public Investment Fund, is going to invest in the new company that they are forming with the PGA Tour, that live is going to be managed by. The PIF doesn't have like a set amount of money to invest, but they have right of first refusal on anything that new entity does. So if the PGA Tour wants to buy a golf course and make a new TPC, they have the right to half of that or whatever. I can't imagine live stays around. I want to cover a couple other things before I get to that. The PGA Tour is really touting that they have more board seats, they have more control. Like they still have the control in this. I don't know how to square that with the fact that the Yasir guy, Yasir Al-Rumayyan or whatever, is the governor of PIF. Like, he has the $700 billion war chest that he's in charge of. Like, he's the guy. You're going to tell me that dude doesn't swing the biggest stick in the room? He's going to be the chairman of the new company. Monahan's going to report to him. I mean, if you watch their interviews, like, it's very obvious what the power dynamic is. Like, he's the man in charge. So I don't know how we can run around saying, oh, PGA Tour, that's a great win for them. I mean, like, they're never going to, they're in charge. He's got all the money. I don't know. Apparently, though, and we were kind of right in this aspect when we're like, something can't be going good with the case. What wasn't going good with the case was that the case was still going. Like, it was going to go, they were expecting it to go 3 to 4 more years, and they'd already spent $50 million in legal fees and had busted into their reserve for another $50 million for elevated events. So the PGA Tour was running out of cash. Back to live. I don't think this is a good scenario for live. I'm probably, hey, if I'm wrong, I'm not shocked, because no, I still think there's so much more to find out about this. But it seems like what the Saudis wanted all along in this whole public investment fund in like the 2030 vision is to normalize doing business with Saudi America, helping Saudi America. Saudi fucking might be Saudi America soon. Help normalize business with Saudi Arabia, help turn Saudi Arabia into more of a tourist destination. They've seen Dubai and things like that. They want to be involved in that. So what they wanted all along when they first approached us, they just want to be involved. They want to sit at the table. They want to be with the sponsors. They just want to normalize the thought of doing business with Saudi Arabia. I think they've accomplished that goal now. Like, this was kind of the goal from the start, was like, be able to be at the table, like, be involved, be in the ecosystem. It seems like, in hindsight, live was a means to that end. You bleed the tour dry for a little bit. You get to the point where then you can make them an offer that they can't refuse. And now live seems like it's served its purpose. Live has lost a bunch of money. Granted, if you lose $5 billion, what's $5 billion out of $650 billion that they're expecting to be $1 trillion, $1 trillion, like in like 4 or 5 years? I mean, I know they have what probably is unlimited resources, but you can't imagine they're just going to want to keep dumping money down the drain on live. So, I mean, if I'm looking at this as a winners, losers kind of scenario, the obvious winners are Yasir. Is it Yasir Al-Rumayyan or Al-Rumayyan? Yasir, the PIF, and the Saudis are winners in this scenario. Big winners. Huge winners. they accomplish their goal, I think. Doesn't seem like the PGA Tour, like this is going to be a big win, but it's not I don't think it's a loss yet, but I wouldn't be celebrating by any stretch of the imagination. Like, it's very TBD. Like, you're out of the weeds, but is what's beyond the weeds any better? Are there taller weeds? Are there weeds with fucking tigers in it? Like, what's going on now? Live? This seems like a loss. I know you're getting reports from like Norman and then like all the live sucking like accounts on Twitter and Instagram, like Flushing at Golf and PGA memes and like all those fucking dudes who have to be getting fucking paychecks from live. Because if not, the just gargling of the cock is unreal. Unreal. But I don't see why you would keep live around. It makes no sense to me. Granted, I'm a fucking idiot. But we'll see. It's going to be very interesting. I'm going to talk about this so much for like the next 6 months, I imagine. So buckle up. And kind of one other takeaway. Jimmy Dunn was the dude who did this. And then Ed Hurley. Jay Monahan, nothing to do with this. Jay Monahan looks like an idiot out of all this. Like, you'd come in and you invoke the 9/11 family groups, and then you turn around and be like, yeah, well, doesn't matter now. Oof, oofta. Not good. All right. Looking forward to the U.S. Open. Jordan Spieth wins. Does not hit the last putt. Don't look now. You know, double check your eyes here. The Cleveland Guardians have won 2 series in a row. That's 2 series. Back-to-back series. They are winners. Series? Series. Back-to-back winners of series. So, yeah, Cleveland. They win today. A little afternoon game. A little 5-0 win over the Astros. After a 6-4 loss on Saturday and Friday night. What a game. Friday night was. Extras, 14 innings. Just an all-time staying in it. They gave up 4 runs in the first, and then were just hanging around. Josh Naylor ends up tying it with a double that was just a couple feet from going out on an 0-2 count in the bottom of the 9th with 2 outs. You know, they match runs in the 12th. Kwan gets a little blooper RBI, and then Freeman, RBI double to walk it off. Win in the bottom of the 14th. Just great. Jose Ramirez found his bat, too. Where am I? Why am I getting confused? Thursday night. There we go. Gosh, I was confused. I got all sorts confused. Thursday night against the Red Sox, he hit 3 home runs, and then hit another Friday night. So came into Thursday night with 6 total home runs. Walks out Friday with 10. So how about it? Bat's starting to come alive a little bit. I was in attendance on Wednesday night for a 5-2 victory over the Red Sox. That was a fun game to be at. It really enjoyed my time there. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. But yeah, Cleveland here. They've not lost a series dating back since May 24th when they were swept by the White Sox. It'd been a rough stretch, before that, but since then they took 2 or 3 from the Cardinals, 2 or 3 from the Orioles, split 2-2 with the Twins, 2 or 3 from the Red Sox, and then 2 or 3 from the Astros here. So don't look now, but maybe it seems they're finding their bats a little bit. Jimenez hit a home run today. He did leave the game early, but Jose Ramirez is hitting some home runs. Josh Bell has kind of found his bat. Naylor's hitting it as good as anybody. I'm excited. Obviously record's still not great or anything like that, but maybe they can build on it and go somewhere. 30 and 34. I think that was, yeah, that hasn't updated yet. I think they're going to be a game or two, two back of the Twins. So hanging around. What are you doing? I'm just hanging around. Just hang around. Twins play today. Twins are up 5-1 over the Blue Jays, so won't be making up ground today. Tomorrow is an off day, and then the little West Coast trip coming up. Out at the Padres, then at the Diamondbacks. Later games, so your boy's not going to see much Cleveland baseball this week. Well, that's not necessarily true because I will be up. The double TV is going to get a workout because I'm going to be up watching the U.S. Open that's going to finish at 10 my time. So, 3 straight games with the Padres and then head to the Diamondbacks from there. Then they come back and host the Athletics. So, Diamondbacks are pretty solid. Padres got some talent on that team. Actually, both National League teams, aren't they? Yep. Yeah, Diamondbacks 40 and 25. They're playing some good ball. Padres 31 and 33. So get through that if you can. If you can get through that with another 4-2 week, that'd be awesome. But hey, maybe just get through it 3-3. And then you got the Athletics at home, and you got a quick little 3-gamer with the Brewers, who have been struggling to score some runs too. So that's a whole nother homestand. So get through the road stretch. As I said, I was in Cleveland, picked up this thing. I bought my first piece of Guardians apparel. I know Guardians, Indians is a better name. It really is, but in 15 years, no one will fucking remember. But who don't remember when they were the Guardians? No one cares that the Wizards were the Bullets once or any of that other dumb shit. And yes, Guardians, not a great name, but like if you look at around some of the other names, like Athletics, the Oakland Athletics, the Kansas City Royals, the Boston Red Sox, the Chicago White Sox, like there's dumb names. We just kind of grow accustomed to them. The Green Bay Packers, like, come on. We'll all get over it. I had a great time in Cleveland. I was there for work. I was going to be staying right next to the field, so I was like, screw it, I'm going to get a ticket. Got a great deal on a ticket in one of their club sections. All the food was included in the ticket. Had a gyro, had some pulled pork, had a hot dog, had some popcorn. There was some ice cream out. I didn't get into the ice cream. Cleveland, very affordable beers, $5 beers, which is fucking great. You get bigger ones for 10. Nah, don't do that, though. I think they were only like the 16 ounces. You want to get the little guys, the 12 ounces for $5. They trick you. They tricksy. But $5 for a can of beer at a baseball game is fantastic. I enjoyed it. I really liked the stadium. I did do a little ranking of the stadiums I've been to in my life. This one might cause a little. This one, there might be a little bit of a take here. So I've been to 10 stadiums by my count. I don't think I've missed any. Disclaimer, some of these, it's been a long time since I've been to. So I do want to put it out there that, hey, some of this is going off pretty long ago memory, but this is how I'm going to rank the stadiums. And also keep in mind there's going to be a recency bias here and a home team bias that it's always nice going to see your own team. So you kind of enjoy that scenario. 10 stadiums. Here we go. You want to start? Should we start at the top or the bottom? Let's start at the bottom. So I have a tie for last for 9th and 10th. I went to Old Veteran Stadium as well as Old Synergy Field, which used to be Riverfront in Cincinnati. They're almost the exact same thing. They're the old cookie cutters. At the time, Riverfront Synergy had the left field portion. Like I think almost the entire outfield was removed as they were building Great American. Those two stadiums are kind of trash. Not kind of. Those things are dog shit. They're last. Here's the hot take. Here is where the next two. I have one over the other, but this is where people are gonna get mad at me. Number 8, Wrigley Field, and then number 7, Fenway Park. I don't remember Fenway as much, so Fenway could sneak, but Wrigley I remember. What's nice about Wrigley? When you get to Wrigley, the area surrounding it is awesome. Like Wrigleyville, like all the bars and everything like out and around there. That is sweet. The problem is it's a fucking pain in the ass to get in there. There's nowhere to park. It's a fucking disaster, like in and out. And I went with someone who goes to a lot of games there, went for work there. This guy goes to a ton of games, knows all the ins and outs, like had like a friend's house where we could park in their garage, like 4 or 5 streets up. Like had all the tricks, and it was still a fucking pain in the ass. In the stadium is shitty. Like, yeah, it's old. It's got a lot of history. The seats are small. They don't face the right fucking way. The concourses are dark and small. They stink. So, yeah. Now, again, Fenway. Long time since I had been there. I'm going to guess that I'd have similar feelings. Again, you get a lot of the history, and that stuff's cool, but the stadiums themselves are old and shitty. Like, there's only so much you can do. So, moving on. These two, I probably gave the edge because of where I currently live and kind of the area around it. Coming in at number 6, I have Nationals Park. Went to a number of games there when I lived outside Washington, D.C. With my boss, and my boss's son was a friend of mine from college. Went to a number of games there, maybe 5 to 10, something like that. Had a great time. They had you could get double Jack and Cokes for $10, like right up from our seats were. They had season tickets, not our seats. The seats I got to go to. There was a Jack and Coke stand. You can get double Jack and Cokes for $10. I used to go double fist those. It was fucking great. You could get 4 Jack and Cokes, like $40, and you would be feeling nice leaving that. So, National Park, number 6 for me. I have Miller Park at number 5. Again, ease of getting there versus Nationals Park was kind of tough to get down into. There wasn't a lot going on around there at the time. I think they've built some more stuff up now. I mean, this was 10 years ago. 10 and 9 years ago. Miller Park, again, not a ton around Miller Park, but it's literally got its own exit, I think. It's right off the highway. And you can tailgate. So Miller Park gets the nod for me at number 5 over Nationals Park because tailgating is an option. Number 4, Citizens Bank Park, New Philly. I enjoyed that. It's been a number of years, probably 15, 16 years since I've been there. But I really enjoyed that. Nice new park. I don't think when I went, it had the whole Xfinity thing, but it does now. So there's kind of stuff out around it. Again, not downtown. I'm not a huge lover of the downtown stadium just because it can be tough to navigate. I kind of like when you have some space. Number 3, Target Field. This was a downtown one, but I was staying nearby and I believe walked to the game. And that was a beautiful stadium. Lots of different nice places out in the outfields with bars and stuff like that. Went and caught a game there. Actually, the day after I last went to Miller Park. Very much a better field than Miller Park. Very nice, newer place. Great sight lines. Seats point in the right direction, which is a big thing. So that was a very good one. Number 2 for me, Progressive Field. Jacobs Field, it used to be called. Cleveland. I had a blast going there. It's downtown-ish. Again, I was lucky. I was staying literally like a block away. Like it took me less than 5 minutes to walk to the stadium. The last couple times I've been there, I've sat in the same club sections. I realized last time when I went on a work thing, I sat in there as well. It's a great spot. I walked around to pretty much every other part of the park, and great views, great bars kind of all around. The food smelled delicious. I had food up in mine. So easy in and easy out as well. I really liked it. Again, if you want to call me a homer and recency bias, I get it. You can tag me on that one. And coming in at number 1 for me, Camden Yards. This may have been the first place I went to a Major League Baseball game. A great setting. I don't know about the area now, but at the time, the whole Inner Harbor place was really cool. Went there a number of times, saw a number of different games. I think I saw the Reds there maybe at one point too when Ken Griffey Jr. was playing for him. I don't know. I can't remember. I think I've been to that place a number of times, 3 or 4. I remember loving it. It ranks up high on everybody else's rankings. I did go away from everybody else's rankings with Fenway and Wrigley because Wrigley stinks. I'm going to stand by that. Wrigley stinks. But Camden Yards is not. Camden Yards is great. So Camden Yards, number 1. Yeah, and I think that wraps up all the baseball talk for this week. Okay, over to the NBA and NHL playoffs. Not a lot of drama. Not a lot of drama happening here. Starting in the NBA, the Nuggets had won games 3 and 4 pretty convincingly. 25-point win, 23-point win. Wait, no, I'm sorry. It wasn't that bad. My math. Twanda education, people. That was a 15-point win and a 13-point win. I added an extra one on there. But still, now they're up 3-1, looking to close out Monday night. So by the time this pod gets released, I'm recording Sunday here. By the time this pod gets released, it's probably over if I had to guess. Jokic has been kind of silly in the last 2 games. Went for 32, 21, and 10. 32 points, 21 rebounds, 10 assists. I think he had 2 blocks as well in game 3. Game 4, 22 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and 3 blocks. The dude is unreal. I would be shocked if they lose game 5. I'd be stunned, I tell you, if they lose game 6 and it goes to game 7. If Miami can get it back to Miami, I think that's saying something for them. I would bet on the Nuggets to win the game on Monday in game 5. So we'll see. We'll see about that. NHL, the Vegas Golden Knights also up 3-1 after the Panthers tried to make it a series in game 3 with a victory, a little OT victory for them there. Vegas came back, won game 4. So now they're looking to close out on Tuesday night. That would they would be the second quickest team to ever win a title in the they would be the quickest team to ever win a expansion club to ever win a title in the NHL in the modern era, post 1967. They would best the Philadelphia Flyers by 1 year. The 64 or 74 Philadelphia Flyers. Wait, hang on a second. It would be, is it 73 Flyers? Fifth playoff appearance in 6 years. That's crazy. Second Stanley Cup. Western Conference Final 3 times. I read this somewhere here. Flyers 7 years. The 73-74 season after coming in 67-68. So, some other sports. The Milwaukee Bucks back in like 1971. They won in 3 years. 3 years from expansion. The Arizona Diamondbacks won in 4 years from expansion when they won their title in 01, beating the Yankees in the World Series, and the then Florida Marlins 5 years when they won their World Series over my Cleveland Indians at the time. They then won another one a couple years later, if you'll remember. Now are the Miami Marlins. So yeah. So like I said, not a whole lot of intrigue in the NBA and NHL playoffs. Let's talk some fights. This was a solid fight weekend. Let's start UFC 289. First off, Amanda Nunes dominates against Irene Aldana. Shut out by all accounts. Total strikes outlanded her by over 100 strikes, over exactly 101 more significant strikes, 6 takedowns, just a dominant performance. And then at the end of it, lays out the belts, lays out the gloves. She's going to retire. Probably the greatest female UFC competitor ever. I mean, if you go ahead and look at like who she's fought, champ in 2 weight divisions, she's beat everybody. Pena got her. She came back and beat her. Holly Holm, Cyborg, Raquel Pennington, Shevchenko, Ronda Rousey, Misha Tate. There's a Shevchenko again. Shayna Baszler. It's funny. She was 9-4. 9-4 back in 2014, and then won 12 straight fights. Lost to Pena, won 2 more. And you heard the names in there, along with some others. Very impressive. Very impressive. Has to, You got to imagine she's the greatest female UFC competitor of all time. So, yeah. Elsewhere on that card, I didn't watch this. Just full disclosure, I did watch about the 45 seconds that led to Charles Oliveira getting the knockout on Beneil Dariush. All started with a nice little head kick, and then he ends up getting him down on the ground, goes ground and pound. I thought the ref let it go a couple extra seconds that weren't really necessary. He was at one point he like fell back and his like arm went out. And I'm like, oh, he's out. Like he's out cold. And Oliveira is still hammer fisting him, just fucking crushing him. Ref was like, nah, we good. Let's give it a couple seconds just in case. Just in case was not necessary. So Charles Oliveira, big bounce back win. You talk about him. I mean, you talk about a guy who's a stud too. If you look at his last couple fights, I know we've probably talked about this before, but I mean, if you just run down his last few fights, he loses to Makhachev. You got to imagine he's back in contention for that. Makhachev was like, congrats, but there's levels to this, bro. Yeah, no shit. Makhachev might be on a different one than everybody else. But before that, Gaethje, Poirier, Chandler Ferguson, Kevin Lee, Jared Gordon, Nick Lentz. Like, that was from May of 2022 to May of 2019. And I mean, and then there's more before that. There's David Toomer, Jim Miller, Christian Giagos, Clay Guida. Like, you got to go back to 2017 when he lost to Paul Felder before he lost to, a normal person by the looks of it. So I don't know let's look at the rankings. I mean, obviously Makhachev's in a class of his own, but yeah, I mean, he's number one contender again. Poirier and Gaethje, we know they're getting it on soon. Just beat Dariush. Chandler's wrapped up with Connor, and now you're starting to go down. Like Rafael Fiziev, Gamrot, I don't know, Arman Tsarkuin. Then there's RDA, Jalen Turner, Dan Hugger. So I mean, I think you got to do it. When was the last time Makhachev fought? When he fought back against Volk, right? Yeah, February. So it's June now. You can go in October or November. Unless he wants to sneak something in. I don't think he has anything going. But yeah, I think they got to do it. I think they got to run that back. You do it in like October. It's like a year later. I don't know. Might be the move. I don't know where else they go. Obviously, Volk's come up. He's fighting Yair Rodriguez here in a couple weeks. So I don't see them wanting to run that back again. But yeah, I mean, July 8th, him and Yair Rodriguez are the main event at 290. Brandon Moreno, Robert Whitaker, Dan Hooker, Jalen Turner on that card. So, yeah. Over in boxing had a couple of good fights this weekend. First off, Teofimo Lopez and Josh Taylor was a solid fight. It was great on paper. Two young studs. Josh Taylor's undefeated. If you look at Josh Taylor, who he's fought in the last couple of fights, granted, he hasn't been that active, but I think going into this, like his last 7 fights, the guys had 2 combined losses. I mean, if you go back to, basically you can go back to Ivan Baranchek. That's when he won the IBF 140 title. So that's 2019. Gosh, he doesn't have a lot of fights going way back to 2019. So he fights twice in 2019. Beats Prograis in the World Boxing Super Series to win to unify a couple belts at lightweight. I'm not even gonna try and pronounce Eponin. That's where I'm stopping. Then then 2021 he beats Jose Ramirez, and then Jack Catterall was his last fight in February of 2022 when he probably lost that fight too. I had him losing that fight on my card, and he does lose this fight. 117, 111, 115, 113, 2 times. I thought 115, 113 was a little tight. I didn't score it myself, but in watching it kind of in my head, I was like, oh yeah, I got it about 1-1, 2-1 Taylor, and then Taylor looked solid through like the first 4, maybe 5 rounds, and then Tiafimo just looked quicker, sharper, moved better, kind of all the above. And I had it like 116, 112, 117, 111. And the punch stats agree with that kind of thought. I mean, Tiafimo landed more than double the amount of punches Josh Taylor did. And again, punch stats aren't everything. He landed 138 compared to Taylor's 60. Tiafimo 40% connect percentage and 40 body shots too. So Tiafimo, I think, wins a good one. 115, 113. Tiafimo, thank God he goes for it in the 12th round. And you saw that against Lomachenko too, because had he lost the 12th round, 2 cards would have had it a draw. Then it would have been a majority draw, and Josh Taylor would have kept the belt. That would have been a fucking disaster. Would have fit right in with boxing, though. But could have been just absolute fuckery. Thank God it didn't happen that way. I still don't like Tio. This guy he's an idiot. He is hard to root for. Hard to root for, but he is a superb talent. And it'll be on the opposite end. Josh Taylor made 0 excuses, said no excuses about 87 times in his post-fight interview. Very interesting to see what we get next out of Tio. You know, is it Haney coming up to 140? I think he wins that fight. Regis Prograis, another 140 title holder. I think that's probably the best fight, and I think that's the one that of the people I'm about to name that he's not the favorite in. Raleigh Romero, they can probably talk a lot of shit and, you know, try and make that pretty marketable for, you know, as far as boxing, you know, kind of, you know, in the boxing universe. I mean, that's not going to get outside it, but in the boxing universe, I think that works all right. And then Subriel Martiz is another title holder at 140. I favor Tio there. The one that's not fucking happening is Gervonta Davis, so I'm not even going to talk about it. I would prefer to see Prograis. I think that's the best fight, and I think that's the toughest fight for him, too. So hopefully we get it, because that dude typically has taken tough fights in the past. Like, he's a psycho, and the shit that came out earlier in the week about, like, his dad yelling at him in an interview, and, like, they showed it, and then he's talking shit, I want to kill you, and he, you know, he backs off, and at least he said to Taylor, "I was like, hey, I got a little overzealous, but I can't like him. His dad's the fucking worst." But the other fight of the weekend was a fantastic fight. Not as great like on paper, no belts on the line, none of that, but Jaime Munguia and Sergio Derevyanchenko put on a barn burner. I'm talking round 3 and then round 5 were 2 of the better rounds I've seen in boxing in at least a year, if not 2, maybe more. Round 3 was back and forth. Round 5, Derevyanchenko almost had Jaime Munguia, like almost finished him, I think, but just kind of ran out of gas himself. Props to Jaime Munguia for surviving that and then going on to win this fight. He gets a knockdown in the 12th round, which turns out to do it. Little hook to the body, not a little hook, a big hook to the body, knocks down Derevyanchenko, who has been on the wrong side of 2 brutally close, tough losses. When he lost to Gennady Golovkin and now Jaime Munguia, as well as a couple other tough losses in there. And I am super impressed with Munguia hanging in there, taking a beating, and just keep coming and digging deep and going forward. So that was an impressive performance. And my God, was it a fun fight to watch. So, final scorecards were 115, 112, and then 114, 113 twice for Munguia. So 10-8 round in the 12th flips it on 2 scorecards for him. But I am all in on more Jaime Munguia fights because these are fun fights to watch. Like, these are entertaining. There's action. Munguia's eating a lot of punches himself, and apparently his chin is pretty solid because Derevyanchenko was throwing some fucking bombs at him. So props to those two. That was the most fun boxing match I've watched in a while. Hopefully that gets topped here in the next few months. We got we got Crawford and Spence lingering out there. Hopefully those two put on a classic. But that's my favorite fight I've watched this year, I think. So I think that's everything for boxing now. So yeah, let's keep this party rolling. How about some passing thoughts from me? You guys interested in that? Why not? Let's go to it. First thing, Big Ten releases their new schedule for the 2024 and the 2025 seasons. Obviously, these are way different for the Big Ten. This is their first year with USC and UCLA in them. So just kind of a couple of takeaways. First thing, I found this thing on how far people are going to have to travel in this. USC is going to travel 16,134 miles for Big Ten games. They are heading east for Maryland and Penn State. They also go to Purdue. That's pretty far east for them. UCLA obviously traveling a lot as well. 15,412 miles. They got Rutgers, Michigan, and Indiana, so not quite as bad. Nebraska is the next one. 7,000 miles, 7,022. So their big ones are UCLA, then Penn State. So there is, let's see who has the least miles traveled here. Purdue, 2,436 miles. Their big one, heading to Maryland. So Purdue's 2,436 miles is less than USC heading to Maryland, which is 4,596 miles, as well as Rutgers, 4,846 miles for UCLA. Nebraska traveling to UCLA is 2,500 miles, so still more than Purdue. Iowa has 3,000 miles to USC, so Purdue, Ohio State has 3,900, Northwestern 3,400. So Purdue obviously not playing USC. 5 road games, but yeah, we'll have a short. They do not play USC or UCLA. So another interesting thing out of all this is they call it like the flex scheduling or something like that. Flex Protect. Under the new Flex Protect plus scheduling model, schools will have 2 play opponents that will be played both home and away in 2024 and 2025. Included in those 2 play opponents, which every team has 3 of, is a protected opponent that will be played annually beyond the 2025 season. So the way I'm understanding is there's going to be a set of 3-2 plays that come out every 2 years. Now everybody has protected opponents. I don't know. I'm assuming these can be changed, but for now I'm guessing they won't. Every team but Penn State has at least 1. A lot of teams have 2, and Iowa has 3. So this is what I found very interesting. You would think for Penn State to get one of these teams would probably be like Ohio State, maybe Michigan. Now, Michigan already has 2, Michigan State and Ohio State, so Michigan's out for them. But Ohio State only had 1. They only have 1 protected opponent in Michigan. That seems like it'd be a natural fit for Penn State, who doesn't have any. Now that this year their 2 plays are Michigan State, Rutgers, and USC. So home and away in 2024 and 2025. So it was very confusing. And then when you see, like, Purdue has 2, Illinois, Indiana, makes sense. Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, makes sense. USC and UCLA have each other, plenty of sense. Rutgers, Maryland, again, makes sense. Illinois, Northwestern, Purdue, makes sense. Iowa, Purdue, like, these are all making sense. And then you get to Iowa. Iowa has 3 protected games. Minnesota, I get. Wisconsin, I get. Nebraska, though? I mean, I guess that's Nebraska's only protected game. So if you get rid of Nebraska for Iowa, then Nebraska doesn't have anybody. So it's interesting. I mean, by the looks of it, like, there's always an odd man out because, like, you got some of these teams that came into the, Maryland and Rutgers are lucky because you can kind of pair them up with each other. But then, like, the other teams that came in late, you're talking Nebraska, Penn State, USC, UCLA, and you can pair most of those guys up with somebody. But yeah, Iowa having 3 and Penn State having none is interesting. But interesting way to do it. So it's going to be top 2 teams makes the championship game every year. So that'll be cool. Let's see maintain control and flexibility as postseason format evolves with the goal to create access for blah, 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 blah. Balance of annual travel distance. That didn't work great. So, yeah, so Penn State in 2024, They are on the road at Indiana, at Purdue, at Rutgers, at Wisconsin. Not bad road schedule. Then host Michigan State, Nebraska, Northwestern, Ohio State, and USC. Good teams to host there. I mean, the tougher games are at home. By the looks of Ohio State, USC. 2025, head to Iowa, Maryland, Michigan, Michigan State, then USC. Host Illinois, Minnesota, Rutgers, and UCLA. So pretty weak home slate in 2025. Should win all those. Couple of tough trips. Four kind of tough trips away in 2025. Iowa, Michigan, Michigan State, USC. So 2023 is happening this year. So we get sophomore Drew Rattler. So if this kid's any good, 2025 will put him to the test if he's still around. All right. So moving on from that, we wasted a lot of time on that. Mike, we saw an interview of Mike McDaniel, just a snippet of him on Pardon My Take, PMT with Big Cat and PFT. He was talking about getting caught vaping on the sidelines. That dude's fucking hilarious. I don't know what it is about him that I love so much, but I just find him to be like the funniest like coach of all time. Like no doubt funniest coach in the NFL. He is ridiculous in like what the shit he says. What else? Oh, the Matt Rife comedy special on YouTube that's out right now. I forget what it's called. He's got two. It's the newer one. The old one is OnlyFans. It's called Matthew Stephen Rife. It is fantastic. I had started seeing like videos of this dude doing like crowd work, and it's fucking like he's great, and he's just as great in like the special, and he does crowd work in the special, which is kind of absurd as well. So, definitely check that out if you enjoy like stand up comedy at all. It was very good. He's very funny. What else we got? Oh, Ohio. On my trip out there, they need to figure out their rest areas, pull offs, gas, food, all that stuff on the turnpikes. And they should take note of what's happening in their neighboring state of Indiana, because Indiana's got it figured out. Their pull off areas, rest areas, whatever you want to call them, convenience areas, gas stations, whatever, like on the turnpike are fantastic. Ohio's are old and kind of shitty. Yeah, not great. So figure it out. And the good thing though, when you get to Ohio, you can start finding yourself some sheets. I found me one of them sheets. God, I miss sheets. Got some of them snack wraps. They had some mac and cheese bites. But the snack wraps, I can make snack wraps just like McDonald's should. But no, McDonald's won't do it. So I gotta wait till I get east enough to find a sheets to get me a snack wrap. Oh, sheets are the best, man. Sheets are the best. Also, when I was out there, I saw an ad for Perry's ice cream. Perry's ice cream is the best too. The absolute best. Love it. Wish I could get more of it. Perry's ice cream is fantastic. What else did I see? Oh, I saw the A's are running into some trouble securing funding for their stadium. So that move looks a little rocky. I don't know what the specifics are, but I know the first proposal seems to have gotten shot down. I know there was no roof on the outdoor stadium in Las Vegas. So that was interesting. Here was one that was great. I saw something. Let me see if I can find some more. Jamel Hill wanted $100 million from Spotify. Oh, hang on. This may be fake. Jamel Hill pushes back on wine. After daring the company to pay her or another black host $100 million. Oh. Oh, it's an old quote. She's not leaving. Oh. I don't know. Well, that's dumb. Well, if she wanted $100 million, that would have been the dumbest thing ever because she sucks. But guess it's not happening. It's not happening either way. She's never getting $100 million. She'd be better off giving me $100 million. I could do more with it if I got something like $100 million and like a little push. Like I could do a better show than Jemele Hill. I do a better show than Jemele Hill. She sucks. She sucks. That part remains true. There was a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. It's animated, but it looks pretty good. I am excited to maybe catch it someday, like when I'm traveling and like have to fly in a plane. And I'm also excited because I bought the original 1990 live action movie on Amazon. I had a bunch of those like promotional credits. I don't know. I get like an email like, you've got promotional credit. And then I got an email, you need to use $17 for promotional credit. It was $7 to buy the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. So I said, yes, please. Let's get me some of that. Succession. I saw this very interesting thing. I had seen a lot about Succession like this year as they were doing the last season. And turns out, like, I tried it, like 4 episodes in, I gave it, like, maybe I need to give it more of a try. I wasn't feeling it, man. Turns out 73% of viewers reside in what this is calling A markets, which is LA and New York. And the rest of the country apparently did not catch on to it, which kind of makes sense why I didn't hear anybody talking about it. And then all of a sudden it was like all over like social media. But very interesting kind of like break that, like, you know, how that broke down and like where it went and who was watching it. And I guess it kind of makes sense and like the topic of what it was, but very interesting. I thought that was kind of funny. So, well, I think that's it for my passing thoughts for this week. I don't know what. No, yeah, that's about it. Jemele Hill sucks. That's the main takeaway. Closing time, everybody. Just want to say thank you again. Appreciate all you guys as always. So thank you. Again, thank you to producer Kevin. Yeah, you're the man. He keeps this thing going. So thank you guys so much. Gonna be back next week as always. Hoping to have a bunch of the guys back on to do a U.S. Open recap. I might even screw around with testing out like if we can go live and try that out and see if then I can keep that show to send out like as the whole show. If I can't, I don't know if I will. So keep your eyes out. Might try going live, but never know. But also next week, there's more baseball to talk about. We'll have answers on NBA and NHL and plenty other good stuff. So once again, thank you, everybody. Appreciate the support. And until next week, peace.